Bonjour everyone, welcome to Château Clos. Why are we here? Because we are with the owner, Monsieur von Nijperg, and he is the owner of not only Château Canon La Gaffelier, but also Clos de la Haute. So thank you very much for having us today.
No, thank you very much indeed, Tim. You are here. We have nice wines here, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I definitely
So
love your wine.
we have to speak about all these wines.
Yes, and we're going to start with Clos de la Haute. Beautiful wine. We've got 2014 that we've got in our cases, in our silver case we have. But before we start, because big fan of yours, big fan of your wine. Go past here nearly every day, and I see people always working in the vines, turning over the soils here. So obviously you put a lot of work into creating what is an outstanding wine with Château Canon La Gaffelier. So just a little bit about yourself and about your family. When did you arrive here in Emilion?
Perhaps a little bit more about history. So we are a family from the Roman Empire of German nations. So we can find Nijpergs for 850, 900 years. And in our family, we make wine for 850 years. So I grew up with wine. My father, grandfather, and so on grew up with wine. So wine is a part of our life, and we know that wine can be good and is good. If it's bad, the family would be not here. So the family is still there. So wine can only be good. Yeah. So that's clear. So we have a special members of the family that were very important in the history. So one beats the Turkish just before Vienna. Another one lost the war against the Prussians. And then we have the lover of the second wife of Napoleon. He makes her 3 children, and Napoleon only 1. So we have a big exchange in the history, in politic-wise, and also in agriculture, forest, and wine. For me, I'm the oldest of the youngest in a family of 8 children, so I'm number 5.
Yes.
And I'm studying more politics and economics in Paris in the late 70s and the early 80s. But then I'm studying winemaking and vineyards in Montpellier. And I start here in Bordeaux in 83. I take over Canon La Gaffelier in 85. I take over l'Oratoire in 92. And Château d'Aiguille 99, the new Lamondot is 96, Clos Marcelet, the real takeover was 2002, and the investment in Giro was 2006. So we are always working in the wine business, and for me, what's the most important thing is that is life and energy. Well, you can only give to your next generation. For us, it's quite very important to give to the next generation our chateaus or the vineyards. We need the life in the terroir. If there's no life, you cannot give things what is completely dead. That's to the next generation. So we need a life. So we are working with our compost. We are completely organic. We have no chemical fertilizers, no insecticides, no all these things we don't need. If you go back in the 40s, in the 30s, in the 50s, the people making outstanding wines with nearly nothing. And then the agriculture take over. So they are more and more taking chemical fertilizer, and they will lose a part of the terroir. While the chemical fertilizer is quite nothing important. The roots can take up the power directly from the fertilizer. If you have organic fertilizer, compost, you need the microorganisms, you need the champignons to make it possible to take up by the roots. The work is completely different. So I'm speaking about life, and then you have the energy in the wines.
Yeah.
If you have no energy, you're making concentrated wines, overripe wines, but they cannot age. And wines, they have the energy, they can go into time.
Yeah.
You can see that the wines of Canard-Garfilier in the 50s, in the beginning of the 60s, these wines really never changed. I know them now for 38 years, 39 years, and they are always the same. And that is what we have. We have not a peak. Sometimes the people ask me, when is the peak of the ripeness? Say, no peak, plateau.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because I guess working in agriculture as well has helped you be able to become someone who understands the land so well in the terroir.
And we have, in Bordeaux it's very special, it's forbidden to irrigate. So if you have no rain, you have no wine. If you have too much, the wine is not so good. So also the vintages are very different. Right? If you have always irrigation, it's a little bit similar. If you have only sun. But here, the terroir have to speak. That's very different. You can only irrigate the wines that are not producing grapes. That means young wines. But if they are 3 years old, no irrigation, finished. And then you make wines that belong to the terroir, but they have to go down. The roots have to go down. And if you see the Clos Loratois, you compare this wine with Canard-Garfilier, the wines are completely different.
Yeah.
The only thing was a little bit the same is the label. Our coat of arms is the same.
Yeah.
But
so you try and use different techniques for different chateaus that you own?
There's not different technique. I'm not very technique. The grapes, they will tell me what we can do.
Yeah,
but the fruits are looking very different. They're smelling different. You taste them different. In Canard-Garfilier, we have a lot of Cabernet Franc. In Mondot, in Loratois, we have a lot of Merlot. And more we take a little bit more Cabernet Franc, but I like very much Cabernet Franc.
Yeah.
The Merlot is powerful, bright, and the Cabernet Franc gives you a little bit more profound tasting, spice, more harmony, a lot of energy, and I think the Cabernet Franc balanced the Merlot. Only the Merlot is, and if it's really very ripe, the Merlot is a little bit fat. And I like the acidity, drinkability, roundness, integration. I don't like hard extracted wines, and I don't like wines that are over oaked. The wine have to be more important than the oak.
Yeah.
And so I'm not so much speaking about technique. The technique is the only technique is you have to respect the fruits. So you have in our cellars you find nothing to pump the fruits. The fruits have to go in the tanks by gravity. After, if you have good pumps, if the juice, that is not a real problem. But you have to respect the fruit, and then don't do too much. You have to be a little bit lazy in the harvest time. Don't extract too much. The hard extraction was never good. But you have in the wines aging quite quick and early if you extract a lot, but you have a lot of oxygen, and then the tannins are still hard. And what we like is a balanced wine. That you have the power, you have the profoundness, the tannins are integrated, but it's all something together. Not then the income in the wine, and then you have these hard tannins, and they're drying you up.
Yeah.
We need the tannins, while the tannins is the guarantee for the future. When we are looking for the ripeness, we want to have a part really very ripe, and the last part have to be just ripe. And that is the key for complex wine. If all is the same, boring.
Boring. Yeah.
And we don't want to make a boring wines.
Right.
And I don't want to make the wine of my neighbor. He makes a beautiful wine, no question about that, but we want to be different.
Yeah, cool. Well, you're special, definitely. And so what do we mostly Merlot at Clos
Loratois. It's about 10, 15, 20% Cabernet Franc. This depends the vintages,
Yeah.
and then the rest is Merlot. There's no Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
But we planting in last year, 2 years ago, we planting Cabernet Franc more than 1 hectare more. And there's a new part we will planting also Cabernet Franc. So I think that in 2-3 years we will have about 35% Cabernet Franc.
Cool.
And then we will see. So that will make perhaps the wine a little bit more complex. Now that's a wine which is wonderful, but a lot of people can understand it. The wine is, when you come in, you have this nose of tobacco, you have the nose, a little bit of roasted coffee, very, very smart, integrate. Then you have a very nice curve in the mouth. It's fresh, it's intense, profound, and very big harmony in the tannins. So all what the people like. And 14 is also vintage. Nobody speaks about 14.
Right.
But in the 14, we have our outstanding journalists. They destroy the vintage more or less.
Yeah.
So we know about 15, we know about 10, but 14, well, not very well. But now the 14 is very nice. So for me, 15, 16 is still too young. Sometimes also the 10 is too young. But 12 and 14 is very good.
Yeah.
The only vintage was a little bit more difficult was the 13. That was but we have a very nice 13 also in l'Oratoire, but 14 have more power, more profoundness.
Yeah, and it's starting.
I think we have to taste now. We are speaking, and we are.
It's important to give the people a bit of understanding on your wines and your style. So 2014, like you say, it hasn't had a lot of good press, but it hasn't had bad press.
Have another outstanding press. Now the people, when now the people have to come back. But if you drink now the wine, no wine can lying after 6-7 years. You can, if you're only a wine, I don't like the word winemaker, but if you're a winemaker, you can make a wine a little bit more sexy, more oaky, but after 7 years, the terror is coming out. And if you over extract it, you will see the tannins will still be dry. After 7 years, is the tannins are really dry, it will dry forever. And if the oxidation really starts, the wine you can see it's too much. So the over extraction, over ripeness is not good. You have to find the ripeness with the most energy in the skins. Then you make the top wine. And it's not easy, if you take if you have an apple tree, and the apple tree has different apples, and you eat an apple and you say, oh, it's not ripe, it's hard, and then one day you say, oh, it's becoming sweet, it's becoming good, and then it's really outstanding, but 1 week after, it's too ripe. In all the fruits we have the same. And if you over ripeness in the grapes, that is a little bit more difficult. While they're always very sweet, but you will miss a part of the energy after a moment, over ripeness, and then that you can't see it in the beginning, but you will see it 5-10 years after, and you will really see it 20 years after.
Oh, you actually make me want to be a winemaker. I've never wanted to be a winemaker before, but very interesting.
No, terroir.
It's the key.
You can speak this a little bit, that you have a little bit tobacco, like my friend Fidel Castro, Cuba, and then you will have also this coffee toasting. Very elegant. You have a nice acidity, a good profoundness. The tannins there, but it's soft tannins. And then when the reflection now have to be, what can we eat with that?
Yeah, please tell us.
Game. You have entrecôte. You can get a lot of things. You can eat. For the moment, it's more meat and things there. But I can see if you have a very good pizza, no problem with that.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. I love the way your wine sits in your mouth. It just sits so nice and soft in the mouth. You know?
Soft, but you have a good acidity.
Yeah, and then, well, you got the acidity that comes through, and it's a nice long finish, even with your 2014 Clos Trois.
Harmony.
Yeah, I guess that's the word, harmony.
Yeah.
It all
you know,
together.
it's a little bit, when you're speaking about what's the most important thing for me is this life and energy.
Yeah.
If you have, here also the life means balanced. If you want to have a good life, you have to be balanced. And this is the same thing with the wine. Very nice.
Yeah, I really enjoy that.